Hi guys, Alan here. I've got some thoughts on this tank, and I spoke at length before about the filtration on it. Now, I've been speaking to a guy, which I've used many times, Richard, on his biomedia, and he's given me some really good ideas. I'm going to use them because this really doesn't have the amount of biomedia I want. It's 200 grams, 100 grams if you use the carbon. So in here, I made a modification, and the modification means I can get a whole kilo of biogravel, which, as we know, is one of the best biomedias you can get. And hopefully it's going to make this tank a lot better, because we're nearly 2 weeks into the cycle and it's just not working. The cycle's really taking a long time. I've even put biomatter from my other tank, this tank, out of the filter into there, and it just didn't make it easy. I've been dosing with ammonia. Now, I know people say that sometimes you have to do this, you have to do that. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to try this. And the guy Richard, who has basically given me some ideas, so today I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. And the first thing I'm going to do is take out this. This is the first thing I'm going to take out. I've got this biomedia, which I'm going to take out here. But look at this. This biogravel is fantastic. I've used it before. There's just over a kilo in there, which is a phenomenal amount of biological filtration for a sub 60 litre tank. But because I want to do maybe shrimp and a hospital tank in here, I'm going to need some of this. Now, obviously, you got to take the filter out, which is the foam part, the mechanical thing, which, again, I don't know, maybe. So what I've done, again, I've ordered this, I think it's called Filter Pro UK, which I'll put a link in the description for these. Now, I've got one medium and one fine. And basically what you're going to do, let me just take you up to the top of the tank. Sorry for the quality of the video. This portion here, the filter, as we all know, goes in here, okay? They normally say put the heater in here. I've put the heater over here. And I'm going to put these foams, obviously the coarse one first, because I want to be the coarse first, and I'm just going to put them in here like this. There you go. Now there is a little sleeve, you know, you probably won't see that on the film, but that is now covering. There you go. I'm going to leave a little bit out. But that is now fully filtering. Oh, I got these, by the way, £3 off eBay. I'll put a little bit of foam in there. I'm going to actually show you this, because this is really cool. What I've done, sorry about this, not very good with one hand. There you go, a little bit of foam in there. Boom, sorted, not a problem. I just slipped it straight on there again, as you can see. Okay, and then what we're going to do is take this. I am going to put these little bags in, but I want to put the big bag in first, and we're just going to go like that. There you go, that's one, and that's two. Right, and then what I'm going to do is take these out, these bio rings, because they've also, as you can see, they've got some media already on there. Probably put them down there. Yeah, I'm not going to bother with them. Yeah, not so sure about it. But there you go. Now, I'm going to see how this goes. As you can see, I've got some new plants. Got some updates going on in there. I'm going to try a different substrate as well. It's actually looking all right. There will be a little bit of mess. I'm going to do a water change on it today. And of course, if this doesn't work, I'm going to put some filter media in this and let it dry out, and maybe keep it in the other tank, keep it bubbling away, so at least I've got a backup to this. But as you can see, I think that is a positive. We have now got at least 5 times the amount of biological filtration, and the same, I don't know, it's quite a coarse foam, the same if not double the foam. So there you have it. Of course, when it comes to actually changing the heat around, I've got to make sure that this is actually going to work correctly, because obviously that's the paramount thing, isn't it? Make sure it works. I believe, has it affected the flow? Yeah, it has a little bit, but that might be purely because the water level's high now. So I'm going to deal with that by just taking a little bit of the water out. I do want more flow just for the filtration part of it, so I can get the cycle working. But as you can see, I think that is a positive. Let me know what your thoughts, tell me what you think. Again, thanks to Richard, Pond Guru, Filter Pro UK, and I say I will put a link down in there, and we'll do some more updates later on. On that note, I'm going to have to change the gravel in this by the look of it, because it actually makes the tank look very yellow. But now I've got it on for about 8 hours, where before I was having it on for about 7, which I was having in the rescue tank over here. So what I'm going to do is just transfer some of the water out, and then we'll go with that. But I think it's looking okay. Give me your thoughts, give it a like, give it a subscribe. As I say, there will be some more updates coming. I've got my main tank I'm going to do an update on as well, and I've also got the pond. And I'm going to, oh, this seems to be doing all right, but I want to see how that goes, because it's not looking great to me. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. You take care. Echo Guy UK. Okay, this is the first part of the tear down. Everything's been evacuated. That is what's going. I'm going to take all of this out. There's the in-tank system. That's going up. Give it a good clean. And move it over. I'm just going to take all the water out now. And we're going to see what we can do with this. So the first part, drain all the water out. And I'm going to do pictures along the way, okay? Just have a quick look. Yeah. Okay. Now, how do you get that out of there? I'll show you. With this, cut that end off, leave that on, scoop, scoop, lovely jubbly. Now, the cat is just keeping an eye on that for me, just to make sure everything's okay. And that's a hell of a lot. Still some in there, not too worried about it. And remember, any filtration you have, you need to keep it in water. Preferably old tank water, that's what I do. And then you can start with the cleaning process. Remember, I'm going to take all this out. Now this, I'm pretty sure is going to come out relatively easy. So just to show you what I mean, that one's already loose, so I'm going to cut down here after I've taken all this off. Remember, you just unscrew all this stuff. I'm pretty sure there's an E-arm at the end of this as well. I remember seeming to do that as well. So we'll just take this out, put that over there. That will come out now. What have we got here? Yeah, that looks like 1,000 to me. That looks like 1,000, boys. Right. It's not going to reach. Of course it ain't going to reach. Right. Okay, that's still full of water in there, so I'm going to drain that out first. See what we got. Well, that's crazy. That literally came off with a little bit of a tug, to be fair. And looking at that now, I can actually see why the filtration never worked properly. There was no actual run for it to go in, so that's kind of annoying. Okay, well, never mind, that's coming out now, so that's how it looks like. Let's try and... I think it's just held there now with silicone. So in theory, if I just cut that at the bottom, that's going to come off. Alright, we'll have a look at that. Now, as you can see, you'll have a lot of sort of silicone left over, some black stuff, so what you can do, I mean, I normally start from the top and just, there you go, like that, yeah? You don't need to go right down to the bottom because you'll be covering that up. There you go. This wipes off with a bit of rubbing alcohol, or I use vodka. Anyway, you don't need to go right down to the bottom because obviously this is going to be covered with something. But it's quite straightforward. You get these off of eBay. I think I paid £2 for that. Very simple, works every time. I mean, look, I'm going to show you again if I can get a good angle on this one. You just put it on there, all the way down. That's it, it's done. I mean, you've got that little bit left. I'm not worried about that, it's going to be covered with gravel. So there you have it. It was really straightforward. I was quite surprised on how easy this backing came off, and even more surprised about this stuff. But there you go, that is now done. Obviously I'm going to give it a wash out, and then we'll go on to the next step of cleaning it up a little bit. But there you go, you get the idea. Now, as you can see, I'm just using one of these, just gently rubbing it. And don't forget, you're going to get a lot of calcium build up as well, because obviously it was full of water. And it seems to come off quite easy. I mean, there are spaces where it's a little bit tougher than others. On the back it came off easy, on the sides it was a lot harder. But you should be doing this anyway, especially depending what you kept in here. I mean, I always like to give my tanks probably a good clean like this every 5 years, just to make sure. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cold coming. And it's, there you go, I mean, it's really easy. Now, I don't believe that's anything to do with strength. That was one of my concerns. But the way that came off, I wouldn't have thought so. There's no, this would have to be quite strong for it to work. So all in all, it's doing really well. Now I'm going to finish up here. I'm not going to bore you with all that, and we'll have a look at the results in a little while. We'll be back in a minute. Just remember, when you're doing this, never use chemicals. I've literally used one of these things you can get anywhere, and I've given it a bit of a scrub. As you can see a little bit at the top. Don't go too mad, you don't want to scratch the tank, yeah, but you can't really notice it from outside, so there you go. I think that's fantastic. I think a little bit of water, a little bit of what I like to call elbow grease. I suppose everyone calls it elbow grease. And now I'm going to give it a wash out. Looks great. It's really done a good job. Well done.